Believe it or not, this new Apple Watch Series 10 is thinner than a Rolex Datejust. Right, let's talk about Apple Watch, because this year we've got two new Apple Watch announcements. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 in satin black. To be honest, not much has changed here, but I will talk about this. But the big update this year is the Apple Watch Series 10. This video is gonna be different to a lot of the other videos that you've seen because I am a tech content creator, but I'm also a keen enthusiast when it comes to mechanical watches, and I've been documenting my journey here on the channel. For me, when I watched the keynote, one of the things that really stood out is this seemed like an announcement that you would get from a traditional watch brand like Rolex, for example, where there's an iterative update, and some would argue that it's big in some areas, but is it big enough? So this year, one of the big updates is Apple have increased the size of their watches. The smallest is now 42 millimeters, and this one in front of you here is the largest size, the 46 millimeters. There's a new finishing, titanium finishing with polishing. It looks absolutely stunning, but this is the aluminium. And as the case with most Apple Watches now, there are a ton of different customization when it comes to the different bands that you can use. And what is good is this year, although we were expecting Apple to actually change up the band system, they haven't. So all your older bands will now work with the new Apple Watches. God, I made a complete mess of that, didn't I? And it's a custom now with Apple. You get very minimum in the box, but you do get this nice USB-C braided charging wireless cable. One of the nice things about this charger is that it does support fast charging, 80% in 30 minutes, which is helpful, especially if you're going to be using the Apple Watch for sleep tracking. Wow, we have not seen a jet black kind of finish like this since, I believe, the iPhone 7. Now, much like the traditional watch world, there's been an emphasis this year from Apple to make this thing thin, and it is ridiculously thin, particularly when you compare it with last year's Series 9, but also with Series 8 onwards. This is actually noticeable, and as I put them side by side with the Series 9 and Series 8, you can see that change in thickness. If you're going to come from an older Apple Watch, which I think, you know, the yearly cycle has now changed, both with phones, but also with the Apple Watch. If you're coming from, let's say, a Series 4, Series 5, Series 6, this update in terms of the thinness now and also that larger display is going to be much, much more noticeable. One of the updates on the screen technology is Apple are using this new OLED display with wide angle. So basically it helps if you're going to view your Apple Watch off axis. Now, it's supposed to be brighter and more noticeable from the Apple Watch Series 9 and older. I'm not really noticing that much of a difference. I also think it depends on the watch face that you're using. So it will refresh once every second. Now, in the past, on the Series 9 and older, you would get always on display, but it would refresh once every minute. So you wouldn't be able to see this ticking hand effect that you can do now with Series 10. It makes a difference, you know, especially if you're timing something or if you're looking down at your wrist at a quick glance, you can actually just see that seconds hand ticking now. This jet black finish is basically a treatment to the aluminium. It's ionized in a way so that it gives you this effect. It looks very nice. It certainly looks premium, glossy. We haven't seen this on the aluminium finishing on the Apple Watch for a while, but I think it's not as durable as, let's say, the Apple Watch Ultra with a different finishing to that titanium. The fact that they made it slimmer means that it fits more like a traditional watch on the wrist. So it's flatter, and the way then that combines, though it doesn't have lugs in the traditional sense, but the parts that stick out where the strap system is, it curves over in a way that it doesn't on the older models. So I think generally this actually feels more comfortable, more like you're wearing a traditional watch on the wrist now, and it's really nice. When Apple said at the keynote that this was the all-new design, I laughed a little because I wondered how the tech creators were going to react to this. And I see that some of them were a bit upset because they wanted literally an all new design. But this happens in the watch world quite common. They can change it by a millimeter and class it as an all new design. Now, to be fair to Apple, I'm not really sure what more they could have done with this. The Apple Watch styling and this kind of format is what we've come to expect from Apple. It stands out from a lot of the other competition. I think some people were expecting a rounded design, but I don't think that works very well on a smartwatch like this. Making it thinner, nobody asked for it to be thinner, but it was nice to see Apple do that. And making it larger, although I was critical first about a larger display, I actually think, having used and worn this now, it's a good size. It actually fits, and my wrist size is about 6.5 6.5 inches. So on my wrist, it actually looks quite good. And this larger display does make it easier for a lot of other people who might struggle with a display of this size. There's a change in the speaker grill on the side now. So this will actually play music directly from the Apple Watch, which I don't know why anybody would want to do. I think it's annoying enough when people take calls and play music on their iPhones with their headphones, especially in a public space. So please don't be one of those people that does that. Really need to in emergency cases, I guess you could do from the Apple Watch Series 10. One of the other things, depth sensor up to 6 meters. So if you require more, then it's probably worth considering the Apple Watch Ultra, which goes down to, I believe, 40 meters. Now, obviously the Series 10 comes with Watch OS updates. And one of them that I found quite helpful is the sleep apnea detection. This is really useful because it only uses the accelerometer and then pairs it up with hundreds of thousands of cases of sleep apnea, and then gives you an indication if you might want to investigate that further. It's very, very helpful. A lot of people suffer from that, and you can find all those details in the health app and then share that with your health professional. Now, in terms of battery life, this is 10% thinner than the Series 9. I would have assumed that there would be an improvement in battery life, but I haven't seen anything like that. I think if you sleep with this and you're going to be using this day to day, the fast charging certainly helps, but in terms of improvement in battery life, it's still around Apple's claim of 18 hours. I get less than that when I'm using this. But if you want improvement in battery life, this isn't the watch. The watch to consider is the Apple Watch Ultra. And this year, nothing has changed compared to the Apple Watch Ultra 2, except we get this new color. And boy, am I a sucker for this new color. This satin black is stunning. It's been paired up with this Milanese band, which is interesting. I mean, it's incredibly, incredibly light. Putting it on, I find is a bit of a challenge. And I know some of you are going to comment, I've got it on the wrong way around, but this is the way that I put it on because it's just more comfortable. And it's got a really nice clasp system, and it is so, so nice. This particular watch face I've got permanently on for the red, and I think it looks striking. Nothing has changed internally. It's got no new features when compared with the titanium version of the Apple Watch Ultra 2. It's exactly the same, but what it has changed is this color, and this black color is really nice. Now, unlike the jet black aluminum Apple Watch Series 10, this has a particular coating. It's a type of PVD coating, which is gonna give it much more durability in terms of scratches. And I still think this will pick up scuffs. I haven't noticed anything, and I've not been babying this at all. So I am expecting some scratches, particularly around the flat part and the edges over here. But I mean, the color is just stunning. It really is very, very beautiful. If better battery life is important to you, then the Ultra 2 is certainly the one to consider. For me, as a watch enthusiast and as somebody that wears an Apple Watch, I would have liked to see a special edition. Just give me a special edition for the 10th anniversary of the Apple Watch. We didn't get that. I certainly think if you were coming from an older Apple Watch, I really think if you got a Series 9, I would say even a Series 8, there's no need to update to the Series 10. And if you've been on the fence about getting an Apple Watch Ultra and you've not had one in the past, then this is a good opportunity to get one because you've got more options to choose from in terms of colors. Yeah, it's been an interesting update in terms of this year. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit like, and follow more for both tech and watch content. Until next time, I'm Kwan here in the UAE talking tech, AI, and lifestyle. Peace and blessings.